This video is a little bit different than the other things I've been doing lately. I'm about to turn 40 very, very, very soon here. And, if you watch this video, by the time you see this, or even by the time I actually upload it, I might even be 40 already. That kind of sounds like I'm making one of those, if you see this video, then I'm dead kind of videos. It's not that. It's more like a holy crap, I'm 4 decades old now. Where did the time go? The weird thing is I try to look back. What was my earliest memory? And I think it's when I was 3 years old. And I actually can't believe I have this memory, but I remember walking out the front door with my mom, and I remember looking up at her and asking her how old I am. And I remember her telling me that I was 3 years old. But I don't really have any memory of anything between that and starting school. I do remember before kindergarten, they had this program where the high school kids would teach little kids to get them ready for kindergarten. And I remember going to that. And I remember gagging on my bologna sandwich every day. I don't know what it was. Being there, I just could not eat bologna. I dreaded that sandwich every day. But I remember doing it. And I remember they would teach us our right and our left. And I remember with confidence, I was like, this is my right and this is my left. And the teacher's like, no. In between, that earliest memory in school, it's just kind of a blur. It might as well have been on fast forward. And then after that little program we had, I remember going to kindergarten. I remember starting kindergarten, and I remember being scared to death and asking my mom if she would stand out by the door the whole time while I was in school and wait for me. And I remember her saying yes. And I remember believing her, thinking, oh, my mom's out there the whole time. And it made me actually feel better. But, obviously she couldn't stay there the whole time. But I thought she did, and it actually helped me. Her letting me believe that she was there actually comforted me quite a bit. But when it actually comes to school, it's just like a fast blur of brief slow down moments of memories. And it's just it moves fast, slow down. Oh, I remember that. Fast, 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 slow down. Oh, I remember that too. While I was in school, a couple things do stand out of memories. You might remember this one. You remember Y2K? Do you remember people going to the store and stocking up on food, water, and supplies because the computer-induced apocalypse was coming? And I remember that night too. I remember watching TV, watching the ball fall at Times Square. I remember they counted down. It's 3, 2, 1, Happy New Year. And I'm like, okay, everything good? We all good? And then nothing happened. And life went on. Seems to be that maybe a year after that, something else happened. And that was one of the scariest things I remember ever happening. And it changed the life of most people for forever. And it's weird too, because, we all kind of went through that as, young adults, teenagers. And it's weird too, because, I went through that as a teenager, and it's just kind of stuck with me the whole time. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, it's, it involved a couple of buildings and a few airplanes. It's weird too, because now kids go to school and learn about that like it's history. But man, we were oh man, we talk about it and we remember it like it happened just a week ago. Kids are learning about it now and it's history, just like we were learning about things in school that happened in history. But to some of the other people that we knew that were older, they were there. They experienced it just like we experienced that. And now kids are learning about that. And then a couple years after that, one of the most significant things, probably at the time, the most significant things that will ever happen to me happened. And that was I graduated high school. The thing that you wait your whole life to do is oh man, one day I can't wait to get out of here and I'll be on my own and free. But at the time, it was the thing that happened and you couldn't wait for it. And as it's happening, you're holy crap, it's happening. I remember being in line. We were getting ready to go up on the stage to do the graduation and we were all kind of in disbelief. And at the time, like I said, that was the biggest, most significant thing that has ever happened to me. Well, besides being born, I guess. And then, you get out of school and you do life things that most people do. And then life just kind of goes on fast forward again with brief slow down moments of random memories. But over time, I do have memories of, getting internet for one thing. That was an awesome thing. Holy crap, the internet was life-changing. we're using it right now. You know, I don't have to explain to you how significant the internet is. Another thing that I got to experience was video games. Sure, I wasn't there when they first invented them, but I got to experience the Atari. Somehow my dad got me one when I was a kid. That was my first system, and I got to see that from way back then till now, and I got to experience all kinds of cool games, music. And it's funny too, because if you think about music, all the music that we listened to back then is ancient now. Anything I listened to then is now dad rock. Like, if you think, you know what's even crazier to think of? You think about your parents maybe in the 90s, right? They would talk about the 60s, and we're growing up in the 90s, and you hear them talk about the 60s. The way we talk about the 90s now. The same amount of time has passed from the 60s to the 90s as from the 90s till now. We are those old people reminiscing about the good old days now. And also, you can't leave out 2012. Remember 2012? Seems like such a long time ago now, right? But at the time, that was pretty scary too, because even though most people didn't believe it, you kind of had that, is it going to end? But again, on that day, you're like, okay, we good? And again, nothing happened. And once again, life moved on. It's crazy to think about, you know, how long I've actually lived, but actually how long I haven't lived. Like, I'm not super old, and hopefully I have a lot of time left, but I've also experienced a lot in just this little bit of a 40 years I've lived. And 40 years is a weird age. It's like you're not cool because you're not like young enough to be cool and hip with the new stuff, but you're not like cool 50-year-old dude cool. You're just like gross 40-year-old middle-aged gross. And what's crazy is as significant as graduating high school felt back then, with everything I've experienced up till now, graduating high school is the least significant thing that's ever happened to me. I see my kids now doing things that I did when I was their age. And it's weird too, because you realize sometimes how much life repeats itself. Like they'll be like, oh, guess what I heard? And it's like, we were saying that when we were kids. And sure, every generation kind of has their own thing, but they also, you don't realize how much you took from the previous generation, you know, either. I mean, heck, they might hear something and think it's super unique and new. And, man, we've been making your mom jokes for a long time. And sometimes it is hard for me to believe that it's been 40 years. It seems like not long ago. I was like in my 20s and getting ready to be 30, or like, you know, middle 30 somewhere, and thinking about, oh, I still got all this time left, you know? And as that time passes, it seems like it just goes faster and faster and faster. And as it's speeding up, and you have these more of these moments of slow down memories that you can experience and remember, things happen. And something we all have to deal with when we get to this age is, unfortunately, we have to see loved ones pass, animals that we love pass. We're in a weird situation at this age. You have to worry about, you know, your parents, older people around you. And now you might have kids, and so you're kind of in the middle, and you got this worry over here and this worry over here. So this age is it's a bit odd. And the thing is, though, is when that stuff starts to happen, it makes you think about your own mortality a little bit, or a lot. And you start thinking about, man, like, I'm about halfway there, you know? I think a lot of people around this time, that's when some people start developing a midlife crisis. It would actually be kind of funny if this whole YouTube channel was my midlife crisis. I don't think so, though. At least I hope not. I have my reasons for doing this, but I mean, who knows, though? Maybe a little piece of that is a bit of a midlife crisis. Who knows? But I do hope, you know, hopefully I at least have another 40 years left. Maybe not, though. I mean, realistically, I'd be 80. Unfortunately, my father passed away 1 month after he turned 70. So if you consider that, I got 30 years left. So in a way, I would be past the halfway mark. Sure, 30 years is a good while, you know, but it's also not very long when things are a blur and on fast forward. And sometimes I can't help but wonder, when I turn like 60, 65, am I just going to be in a constant state of peril? Like, oh my God, it's coming soon. I know it's coming soon. I got a good 5 years left. And, you know, I do wonder what that's going to be like. Like, I'd like to think that I'll be so old and just tired of shit that I'm ready to go. But I'm not so sure that that's how it works. Time just, it needs to slow down. And over time, one thing that I try to do that does kind of help with that is if there was any advice I could give, it's to try to step back from yourself a little bit, look around, appreciate and enjoy the things around you, enjoy the people around you, look at the things you have and just appreciate them, and just think about the moment right now. Think about the moment we're having right now. Look around a little bit and try to do that as often as you can remember to do it. Because in those moments, time seems to be still and we're just kind of enjoying the freeze frame. It's almost like the only real way to slow time down is to notice it, to acknowledge it, and to pay attention to it. And only when you pay attention to time does it seem like it stands still. It's like watching a pot of water boil. It almost seems like it takes forever. And if we can just somehow remember to sit back and watch our water of life boil a little bit, let's just go with that. If we can just watch that for a little bit, as often as we can remember to, sometimes it doesn't seem like it goes so fast. I guess the whole point really of this whole video is to try to not only remind you, but myself, to just sit back and watch the pot boil a little more often. To try to just slow those moments down and enjoy the things that are around us, enjoy who we have around us while they're around us, and just take it all in and watch it boil. And there's so many things that I could have brought up in this video, but those are some of the key things I remembered. There's so many other things that if I thought about it, I would remember, but and we're all different. We all have those moments of brief slowdowns of memory, you know? But I just kind of wanted to talk about it a little bit because it's crazy that our kids are looking at us the way we looked at our parents back then. And even if you don't have kids, other people's kids and other people see us now as the way we saw older people when we were young. You know, it's crazy. I'll see an 80-year-old man, and he just looks like some dude to me now. When I was a kid, I was like, oh, look at that old man. People in their 30s looked like old people to me back then, and now they're just people. And now even old people are just people. But I guess that's it. And I just wanted to put my thoughts out there, and maybe someone else is feeling the same way. I don't know. But it's not so lonely when you realize that other people are experiencing things too. We're all experiencing this at the same time. But I guess that's it. So if you watched this video, I appreciate it. Thank you. And maybe I'll see you around on the internet again someday. Later.